In this video, we're going to do some guided exam question practice on a couple of little questions that came up in 2021 on electron arrangement. Now, there were a couple of nice little questions, I think. So they came up in question 4, which is the short questions question, okay, where you have 11 parts and you have to pick 8, okay? So these were the first 3 parts and they all centered around electron arrangement. And to be honest with you, if you know your stuff here, these are really, really easy. You'll be so happy to see these. Okay, so let's take a look at them. Like I said, you wouldn't have to, there's 11 parts in here, you have to do 8, but 3 of these should be absolute bankers. These are easy for us, but let's just quickly go over them and see what mistakes we might make where we have to be careful. All right, so let's look at part 8. It says how many part 1 electrons and then part 2 neutrons does this thing have? Okay, so I suppose a mistake you can make here is to just do the electrons and then forget that you had to do the neutrons. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down A, and I'm going to write down part 1 and part 2. Now I can't forget to do that. Okay, so part 2, I'm going to get the electrons. Sorry, part 1, I'm going to get the electrons, and part 2, I'm going to get the neutrons. That's really the only mistake you can make here. Another mistake, I suppose, is the fact that this is an ion. So you've got the numbers, atomic number and the mass number, 16 and 32. And then the fact that this is a 2- ion, that's the only other thing that might catch you out. All right, so what do we know? How do we work out the number of electrons? Well, we know that if it was an atom, it has 16 protons. That would be 16 pluses, and I could draw them all out, but that's a real pain in the ass. Okay, I'm going to do it anyway, just for the sake of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now you're wondering, what the hell are you doing that for? Well, I'm doing this because sometimes it makes it easier to understand the charges in ions. If it was an atom and this plus, this 2- wasn't here, what this would mean is, well, that means I have to have the same number. I have to have a balanced number of pluses and minuses. So that would mean I'd have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 electrons as well. But because this is an ion, it's got a 2- charge. What's the only other way this can get a 2- charge? Okay, so now that I've done that, I've given you a real clue, a real hint on this. Pause the video and write down how many electrons this thing has. Okay, so do that now. Do that here. Okay, all right, so hopefully you realize, well, the only way that this can get a 2- charge is to gain 2 extra electrons like this. Now it's got an unbalanced number of charges. It's got 2 extra minuses. It had 16 already, and we've added 2 more. So this is 18 electrons. All right, easy peasy. Now I'm not helping you with the neutrons. Pause the video, write down how many neutrons this thing has. All right, so you definitely should be able to do that. The number of neutrons. To do this, we do the mass, take away the atomic number, equals neutrons. And again, we've done that 100 times. This should be so easy for you guys. All right, so that is 32. Take away 16 gives you 16 neutrons. And again, it's always a good idea to highlight your answer somehow, either by putting a box around it and putting after it, answer, and then answer part 2, or you can underline or highlight it or something. But do highlight to the examiner that this is actually your final answer. Right, part B, define atomic orbital. Again, I'm not giving you much help with this. We've done this in loads of these videos, this same definition. You're probably sick of seeing it now. It comes up very regularly, which is, again, a warning to you guys of how important it is to remember that one word for word. Pause the video, write down the definition of atomic orbital. Okay, so you'll only be playing if you've written down the definition of atomic orbital. It's a region in space where there's a high probability of finding an electron. I'm not even going to waste my time writing that one down. If you want to hear it again, rewind the video and listen to me saying it. Okay, so actually I'll say it one more time. It's a region in space around the nucleus where there's a high probability of finding an electron. That should definitely sound extremely familiar to you guys. And if you haven't written it exactly like that, then you need to get on top of learning that exactly like that. There's nothing else to say other than that's what you've got to do. All right, part C, okay, write the SPD electronic configuration. Okay, so the SPD electronic configuration of a nickel atom in its ground state. So this is nickel, not an ion, just ground state nickel atom, excuse me. Right, C. Okay, so we've got SPD of nickel. If you know how to do that, pause the video and start doing it now. Okay, if you're still not sure how to do it and you're still listening for help, Well, then the first thing that you're going to need to do is find out how many electrons nickel has. So pause the video, go to periodic table, find out how many electrons nickel has. Okay, so hopefully you've realized that nickel, nickel has 28 electrons. 28 electrons. So on rough work, I'm just doing it up at the top here. I'm showing how many electrons it has. Nickel, okay, I'm going to help you get started if you don't, now that I've helped you with that, if you're now you remember how to do an SP configuration, pause the video and do that now. Or if you're still looking for help, I'm going to help you get it started. 1s2, 2s2. So now you see that should remind you of the thing that I'm talking about, SPD configuration. Pause the video, finish it off. All right, this is what you should have: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and that is 10 electrons. Then we're going to 3s sublevel, 3s2, 3p6, that's 18 electrons. I need to get 28. The next sublevel is the 4s, and it's 4s2. And that gets me to 2, 4, 10. That's 20 electrons, and then there's 8 left. So this is the 3d sublevel next, and it's 3d8. All right, and that's it, guys. That was it. That was the 3 bits of that that question. Believe it or not, that would have been, if these were your first 3 parts to answer, that would have been 7, 7, and 6. That would have been 20 marks. Oh, we're getting marks for fun here. That was so easy. Okay, so again, well done if you got them right, but hopefully you're seeing the value of practicing these. They should be getting very familiar and very easy at this stage. All right, that's it, guys. See you in the next one.